as I mentioned and gave a brief introduction to earlier, Chris Mundell, Sustainable Design Coordinator HKS. Chris works hands-on, as I mentioned, on their sustainability efforts, both firm-wide and right down at the very, very detailed project level, even to the submittal stage of USGBC. Has a deep understanding of the sustainable design and development, focusing not only on just the things that we do affect and not just the big picture. So looking at it from both sides. Chris, we'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic as well.
Okay, great. Go ahead. You can show my slide. Yes. So at the end of last year, HKS sent out a letter asking manufacturers to provide HPDs for products that we'd be using on our projects. There's other firms out there, in addition to these three firms that are talking today, that are also pushing for HPDs on their products. And so you're going to see that a lot more. I think some of the firms are even going to the extent where they're saying, hey, in the next couple of years, if you don't have an HPD, we might not be able to use you on our projects. I think obviously this is still new, and so there's going to take a little bit of time to get everybody up to that speed. We also understand that cost and performance are key too, but we're seeing a huge push right now for transparency. Currently I'm working on 2 beta projects on the new version of LEED. One of those is our new headquarters here in Dallas that's finishing up this summer, as well as another project in Virginia for George Mason University. And that one's starting construction this fall. And so obviously, you know, Brent mentioned that version 4 and version 3 would be kind of overlapping for a couple years, but we're in the midst of projects right now where we need to start looking at EPDs and HPDs and all that. If you understand version 4 and what's required of that, these credits are looking for 20 or more products by 5 or more manufacturers, and so it's going to be a scramble for me and for our teams to really find companies and manufacturers that can provide that information now. And so we really see that GreenWizard is going to be a great place to start looking. Obviously, like Anthony mentioned, we can't all keep track of this ourselves in our own firms. It's nice to have one place that everybody can go to and have all that data there that we can share. It's just too impossible to keep everything up to date with all the changes in products over the years. We're also seeing some teams where they may not even consider LEED. We have a healthcare client that decided not to do LEED on their project, but they still care about the materials, and so they actually had us went through and looked at all their typical standards for all their materials, building materials and finishes. And so it was still information to provide, even though it wasn't for like a green building certification like LEED. So we're still seeing a lot of interest out there, whether it's LEED or not LEED, dealing with materials and products. And so the knowledge, again, that we need to be able to share that with our clients is key. And pulling that together quickly is also important. Not spending the extra time to have to research it, and just have one place to go to is perfect. And so we're using GreenWizard also on a couple projects, and so we're learning and understanding how it works. And I think, again, we'll continue using it in the future. And I think it's a great tool for all of us to consider. Excuse me. So I think that's the basic that I had to talk about, Brent.
Sure. All right. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it.